Gardening Together at Home. For today's program, we're going to be at the Inside Out right here at the library. The Inside Out is right across the way from the main entrance at the library. It's a really nice gardening space that has a walking path and benches, and it can also be a great place to find inspiration for your sketching. There's not much that you need for today's program. You want to make sure you have something to draw with, something to draw on, be open to the experience, and be willing to create. While you're sketching, you can also participate in a number of mindful activities. You could sketch in complete silence and just listen to the nature around you. You could listen to a podcast, put on some music, or even talk to a friend on the phone if that relaxes you. Our gardens can provide us a lot of inspiration for our sketching. You'll see here we have a honeybee that is pollinating on one of our flowering shrubs, and we'll be using those flowers as our inspiration for our first sketch today. As you begin sketching, you want to start with very light, thin lines. We can always fine-tune once we find the exact line that we want to be using. You'll see how thin my line is. You can almost barely see it on the paper. I'm holding my pencil really loosely. I'm using just small strokes just to start to sketch an outline of what my flower looks like. I'm not worried about details or any shading. I'm just worried about kind of getting a structure of my flower on my paper. As I continue drawing, I can start darkening those lines that I know I want to use, start identifying connecting points, and adding in different shading to make it more lifelike. The point of today's program is not to draw the perfect flower, but to give us an opportunity to enjoy our garden, to turn off our phones, look away from our screens, and just connect back to nature and use our hands in a productive way. As I work on my sketch, you'll see that there's even some ants that have found their way onto my paper. I'm gonna let them be. I'll continue drawing. They were probably living in those flowers before they became my inspiration for today's drawing. Now that I have a pretty good outline, you'll see I'm starting to fill in, darkening certain lines, really highlighting the connecting points, adding in more detail to my sketch just to show the different elements and texture to my flower. sketch, remember the purpose is not just to replicate the flower, but to interpret it, to give yourself an opportunity to relax your mind, to see how your garden can inspire you. Our next inspiration is going to be these green leaves found on another one of our flowering shrubs in the garden. Before you begin your sketch, you should take a good look at what it is that's inspiring you. In this case, for our leaf, we notice that it has these rigid lines on the sides, has this big thick vein that's running down the center of it, as well as these smaller veins that are coming off that main line. And even in between our all of the different veins we're seeing, we have smaller lines that are making all these different connections. When we flip the leaf over, we can really see how deep and thick those veins are. There are main lines that we're going to focus on, and we also get a sense of what that rigid outline looks like as well. So as you go to sketch, you can either have your inspiration in front of you, maybe you have it stored in your memory, but we want to then think about what it is that we're sketching and do our best to replicate that with our pencil. Trees are another great inspiration for sketching. This is something I've personally been working on in my own sketching. You'll see our trees have all different lines, the limbs come off, the leaves are placed sporadically, and it's our job to naturally create this tree. There's no perfect tree in nature, so our sketching should not be perfect either, but should be more natural in the lines that we're creating. I hope that your garden is inspiring your sketching and your art, and if you have any great projects you'd like to share, please share them with @Sachem Library and let your garden inspire your drawing.